For those of you who don't know, my name is Brianna Members, and I am the founder of She Edits. Graduate debt free with She Edits LLC. I started She Edits back in 2019 after I graduated debt free. I was blessed to receive over $50,000 in grants and scholarships. Glory be to God. I was able to win many awards in school. I worked hard. I put in those essays. I turned in those applications, and I walked away from college without a penny in student loan debt. And not only was I able to do that, but I was also able to get refund checks. So I applied and won more scholarships than what I needed. And so I was able to get money deposited back into my bank account as well. And so again, I started She Edits to help other people do the same. Initially, we were just going to help people edit their scholarship essays because the essay is such a crucial part of any scholarship application. But then it's turned into a whole full service scholarship firm. So we offer the full range of scholarship services. We offer coaching. We offer courses. Of course, we offer essay assistance. We offer a service where we'll actually identify and find scholarships for you, the whole 9 yards. Anything that you need from start to finish with the scholarship process, we are here to help. And so, glory be to God, we've helped our clients and students across the country win nearly $500,000 in money for school. And that is just the beginning. We have so many more students to help, and you all are next. The ones that are taking the time to be on here tonight, you are next. All right. So give yourself a pat on the back, a round of applause. All right. So I know you are here for the FAFSA, but I do want to say as well that I do have a training, a scholarship workshop on October 27th. So in a few weeks, it is only for the first 100 people who sign up. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend you go ahead and get in. All right. So during that workshop, I'm going to be covering so much. So I will be covering where to find scholarships, when to apply. I'll be covering how to write stellar scholarship essays. I'll be talking about how to create a plan and then put a plan into place to make sure you're consistent and make sure you are maximizing your chances of winning. So you absolutely want to be there. I'm so excited about that one. I love, love, love teaching those scholarship workshops. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the link for the workshop in the chat. Again, this is October 27th, and it is only limited to the first 100 people who get tickets. So you want to make sure that you are in there. All right. Get it while the getting is good. It's going to be so epic. Super excited about that one. All right. But tonight we are covering the FAFSA. So I'm going to go over what the FAFSA is. I'm going to be talking about how you should apply for it. I'll be going through the entire application with you. I'll be answering questions, and then I'm going to be giving you some of my favorite FAFSA resources that you can use as you are applying. And so these are some of the resources that I usually reserve for my clients, but I wanted to be able to share those with you as well. All right. So we are going to go ahead and dive right on in, okay? So we're going to start with a couple of questions you may have. So what is the FAFSA? The FAFSA. I always say FAFSA, but that's not how you say it. What is the FAFSA? So the FAFSA stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. The FAFSA is not a scholarship. So sometimes I'll hear people say, I got the FAFSA. Well, the FAFSA is not a scholarship. It is actually an application that is going to qualify you for federal aid, for state aid, and it is something that you need as you are applying for colleges and as you are applying for scholarships. So you will not be eligible for any federal or state aid unless you fill out this document. So it is very, very crucial to winning money and getting money in your pocket. So the only website that you want to use to apply for this is studentaid.gov or FAFSA.gov. Okay. If the website does not end in GOV, you are on the wrong website. Okay. You should not be paying to fill out your FAFSA. Again, it's in the name. It is a completely free application. So there is no reason that you should be paying for it. So if you're on a third party site, or if someone says that they will do it for a fee, don't do it. You can do it yourself. It's a very easy, very straightforward application, and you don't need to pull out your credit card at any point as you're applying for the FAFSA. Okay, so that is something I want to just say up front. All right. Let me mute that real quick. At any point. Okay, cool. Sorry about that. All right. So the FAFSA has a lot of acronyms involved. Okay. So again, the free application for federal student aid, and then what it is going to generate after you fill out the application is your SAR, or your student aid report. So your student aid report is the completed document that is actually going to be sent out to your colleges, and it is going to show them what your financial state is, or what your parents' financial state is, and then they can use that SAR or that student aid report to determine how much money they want to give you. Okay, so far we have the FAFSA, and then we have the student aid report, or the SAR. Now, how is the amount calculated on your SAR? Okay, so the FAFSA is going to take your taxes into consideration. That is one of the biggest key components that it is going to pull from, are those tax returns. So you definitely want to make sure you are current on your tax returns, because it is going to be looking at all of your income that is reported on your tax returns. That includes investments, that includes your like W-2s or your 1099s. That does not include non-taxable income, so child support, alimony, those amounts will not be included on your FAFSA. Okay, so just so you know, it is just going to take everything that is taxable, that is on your tax returns, and then from there it's going to make a determination of how much money they say you're eligible for. Now we're going to get into that a little bit later. Even though they may say you can pay so much out of pocket, there are ways to kind of work around that in a sense. So we'll dive into that. All right. But right now I'm just laying a foundation for what the FAFSA is. And definitely make sure you're typing in, your questions as we go, because I will be jumping back and forth and making sure to answer every question as they come through. Okay. All right. So here are a few FAFSA myths that I want to bust, okay? So number one myth is, you shouldn't apply for the FAFSA because you won't qualify for any money, okay? That is absolutely a myth. Every single college student out there should be taking the time to fill out this FAFSA application. Even if you feel like you are not going to qualify for any federal or state aid based off of your income or based off of your parents' income, you absolutely should be filling that out anyway, because there are a lot of state grants that are not income based. I'll say that one more time. There are a lot of grants that you can get from your individual state that are not income based. So yes, that federal Pell Grant is very much based on income, and there are some state grants that are also based on income, but there are also state grants that you can get that do not take your income into consideration. Another reason that you should be applying for the FAFSA, regardless of your income, is because many scholarship applications are going to want a copy of that student aid report. And when you are applying for colleges, they are also going to want a copy of that student aid report. Okay, so that is a myth. Don't not fill out the FAFSA because you feel like you're going to have to you feel like you're going to make too much to qualify for anything. Okay, I got a couple of state grants, even though according to my FAFSA, my dad made too much money for me to qualify for any federal aid. I was still able to get state teaching grants that came from the state of Indiana that were not based off of income at all. So definitely apply for it anyway. Nay, that is a great question. Do we create a new account for each child? Yes, and then I'm going to dive into how to create accounts just here in a second. But yes, you do want to create a new account for each child. Great question. Here's another FAFSA myth. It's too hard to apply for. Well, I got some good news for you. Number one, I'm here. And so I'm definitely going to make the process a little bit easier for you. And then the FAFSA, start to finish, if you have everything lined up before you sit down to actually apply for it, it should only take a good 30 minutes to an hour. Let's just call it an hour, but it's just a one-time thing. You only have to do once a year, and it does not take that long at all, because it's just asking for a lot of information about yourself. And then if you file it electronically, which you'll get into, you can just automatically transfer your electronic tax returns to your FAFSA. And so that just makes the process so easy. Okay, so that's another myth, that it takes a long time to apply for. Okay, definitely don't just disregard that thought. And then another FAFSA myth is that only goes off of your tax returns maybe for last year. Okay, the FAFSA actually goes 2 years back. Don't ask me why. I'm just the messenger. But the FAFSA is going to go off of your tax returns from 2 years back. So even though your financial circumstances may have drastically changed from 2 years back to now, that's okay, because again, we'll talk about how to still qualify for aid even if your financial situation is not reflected currently. Okay. So those are just a few myths. Great question, Tiffany. Can you apply more than once? So you're only going to apply once a year, but then if something changes, like your financial status drastically changes within that year, you can talk directly to the school to get that altered. But yeah, I'll dive right into that. But yeah, you're only going to apply one time each year. All right, great question. I love these questions. Keep them coming in. All right. So here are a couple of key dates for the FAFSA. Make sure you're taking notes, writing this down. The replay will be available, but I definitely want to make sure that you all are getting the information as I'm teaching it, okay? So the FAFSA opens up on October 1st of every single year. So right now we are in 2022. And so if you or your child wants aid for the 2023-2024 school year, they should be applying right now in 2022. So the FAFSA always opens up the year before you need the aid. Okay. So again, it opens up October 1st. And as soon as it opens up, or as close to possible, when it opens up, you should be turning in the application. Now, the FAFSA closes on June 30th of every year. So let's say you're going to school, or your child's going to school in August of 2023, you have all the way until June. Technically, I'm gonna dive into that, but technically you have until June of that year to get aid and to apply for the FAFSA. However, this is a big however, you should absolutely be applying for that FAFSA as soon as possible, because there are so many grants that are first come, first serve. And if you wait all the way until the deadline, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities. Okay. There are so many grants out there, and I'll show you that if the earlier you apply, the better. Okay. So remember, this only takes like an hour to fill out. So if you are applying early, then you are going to absolutely maximize your chances of getting the most money for school. So do not wait until June, May, April, even March. I mean, just do it right now. You're already on this training. It only takes like an hour. So just get it out the way to maximize your chances of getting funding. All right. So now we are going to get into the fun part. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to actually kind of walk you through the FAFSA. I'm going to walk you through what that looks like, and we're going to dive into some of the questions that are on the FAFSA, and I'm going to be breaking some things down. Okay, super excited about this part, but I absolutely wanted to lay a foundation for that FAFSA. Okay, so again, keep typing in your questions, and I will make sure to answer every single question that comes through on this evening. All right. So before you log on to the website, you're going to want to get a few things together. Make sure you have your tax returns. You don't have to have them electronically filed, but if you did, that's a plus. You want to get your social security number, and then you can also get your driver's license as well. But really, you just need your social security number and your tax returns. So if your child is doing this, your child really can't fill out the FAFSA on their own, because they're going to need some critical information from you. So I definitely recommend that you do this with your child, or if you're an adult student, of course, you can do that on your own. But don't go and just send your high schooler to go complete the FAFSA, because they're going to have to come to you and, get some questions answered. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and then we're going to actually dive into what this looks like. All right. Who's ready? Who is ready? Type ready in the chat if you are ready. And I'm going to actually look at these comments on my phone, and then that way it'll be a little bit easier for me. All right, cool. Perfect. All right. Yes, let's go ahead and dive right in. So this is the FAFSA website. Again, you should only be on studentaid.gov. And then if you type in FAFSA.gov, let me show you, it's going to redirect you to studentaid.gov. You should not be on a .com, .net website. All right. So you'll see a couple of options when you get to this website. The first one says new to the FAFSA process, start here. Or if you're a returning user, so somebody who has already filled out the FAFSA, you're going to want to start right here, all right? So let's just say you're brand new to the process. If you click this button, it's going to make you create an account, and it's going to ask for like your social security number and your name, your email address, your phone number. And then it takes a second to verify your account. It might take a day or two to verify your account. So make sure you're getting that done, and it's super easy. And as long as you have the right information, you should get an account, no problem. Now, if you're a returning user, let me show you what that looks like. If you are a returning user, there's a few options for you to click. So it's going to say, I am a student and I want to access the form. I'm a parent filling out the form for a student, or I'm a preparer helping a student to fill out his or her FAFSA form, okay? So just click whichever option is relevant toward you. Now, I'm not actually going to go through the FAFSA electronically because even though I went through it earlier, it does show some of my personal information like my address and my social security number, but I have great news. There is another way to access all of the questions on the FAFSA because you don't have to file electronically. You can file a paper version and then mail it in. Now, of course, I don't recommend doing it this way, but I'm pulling this up because it has all of the same questions that you'll see if you file it electronically. It is going to ask you to make a student key. So that's basically like a PIN number that you're going to need every time you log into this website. And then, of course, you'll have to create some security questions to help keep your account safe. All right. So after you have created your username, created your password, created your ID, you'll be eligible to start filling out the document. Now, if you were in school years ago and you filed the FAFSA years ago, you can absolutely use, you're going to have that same account because the account is based off of your social security number. So even if you were in school, you know, like 10, 15 years ago, you are going to log into the same account. Now, I tried to do this. I applied for the first time in like 2012. So that was 10 years ago. So my old maiden name was still there. My old home address was still there, but it was the same account because, again, you're going to log in with your social security number. And then I had to update my password because I didn't know what my password was. All right. So those are the two buttons. This part is pretty straightforward. Okay. Now, this looks intimidating. Okay. Now, if you file electronically, it's not going to have all this extra stuff. It's not going to have all of these like words and things up here, but don't get intimidated because, again, it's a very straightforward application. Okay. So I'm just going to skip all of this. This is just like informational, blah, 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 like the privacy statement, frequently asked questions. Okay. But this is what the actual application is going to look like. Okay, so let me just run through a few things on here. So of course, you're going to fill out your basic information, your last name, first name, mailing address, social, driver's license number. That's why I said get your driver's license if you have one, your email. Are you a US citizen? What is your marital status? If you are an adult learner and you're going back to school, and you can put if you're remarried, separated, divorced, and things like that. Okay, so this is just some pretty basic demographic information. And then it's going to ask, what will your college grade level be when you begin the 2023-2024 school year? So not what are you now, but thinking ahead, what are you going to be next year? Okay, so again, just answer these questions. This part is very straightforward. Okay, so then it is going to ask you how you filed your taxes. So were you a dependent student or were you an independent student? Now, independent students are students who basically provide for themselves. So independent students are going to be adult students. They're going to be students who live out on their own, basically students who file their own tax returns. Those are considered independent students. If you still live if your child still lives in your house, or if you're the high school student, you still live in your parents' house, you are going to most likely be a dependent student. Now, if you're emancipated, then you would probably be qualified as an independent student. If you're homeless and you don't live with your parents, then you may be an independent student, but it has all of those special circumstances and you'll be able to fill those out as well. Okay. All right, so right here, it's just asking about your tax returns. Now, again, if you filed your tax returns electronically, when you go and file electronically on this website, It is just going to pull your tax statements, and then you won't have to fill out all the stuff about your taxes. Okay. So yeah, just to make sure your taxes are filled out completely and accurately. This is not the time to be lying on your taxes and, talking about, all the extra kids that you have that aren't yours that you're trying to get for tax benefits. All right. Please don't go to jail over the FAFSA, y'all. Don't do it. Okay. That's not the way. So make sure your taxes are filed correctly. All right. So then it's also going to ask, what is the balance of your cash, savings, and checking account? So you have to include all of that. And then what is the net worth of your investments, including real estate? This is very important. Do not include the home that you live in. Okay. So they're asking for those outside investments. Most likely, if you live in a home, you're still paying it off. And so that is not one of your investments. You definitely want to put your investments in your real estate, if you have any, that is not the current property that you're living on. Okay. And then if you run a business, you also have to put that if it's a large business. If you have a small business with 100 or fewer full-time employees, then you do not need to put your business. Or if you have a family farm with 100 employees or fewer, you do not have to put that income on there. Okay. All right. I'm just checking, making sure I don't have any more questions. All right, cool. All right, awesome. Let me go back here. Okay, perfect. All right, so just a few more things from your electronic tax return that you're probably going to file. Now, I do want to say, if you are not with your child's mother or father, if you're divorced, or if you weren't married, or if you're separated, well, it has to be divorced, not separated. You only need to put one parent's income, okay? So if you are not married, you do not have to include both of your incomes on your child's FAFSA, okay? So if you make a certain amount and your ex-partner or your child's other parent makes a certain amount, you don't have to combine the two. Okay. So you definitely just want to put the primary parent's income, the income that of the parent who the child lives with most of the time. And if it's 50-50, then you could probably just pick a parent and then just go with that. Okay. All right. So those are just some of the tax things on here. And then they're just going to ask some very easy questions so that you'll know the answer to right off. So are you serving in the armed forces? Do you have children who will receive more than half of your support from you? Do you have any other dependents? Were you in foster care? Questions that you'll know right off the bat that you can just answer pretty easily. One great thing about when you file your FAFSA online, there's like a little question box for some of these questions. So if you are struggling, like if you don't know how to answer a question, they have very great customer support. For being a government agency, y'all, they have some great customer service because I've called up there myself. Okay. And so if you ever have any questions, just ask because they'll give you the help that you need. All right. So just answer all of these questions. Now, if you are a dependent student, meaning you primarily depend on your parents for their income, this is where the parents are going to have to fill it out. Okay. So again, parents, you're going to have to put in your social security number, your email address, your state of residence, and then how many people are in your household who are going to college? Do you have anybody you're taking care of? So parents, if you are caring for like your parent, like, or if you have a dependent who's not a child, but who's still dependent on you living in your household, put all of that. If you're on any government assistance like SNAP or SSI or WIC, absolutely put all of that. And then make sure you just answer all the questions accurately. Okay. All right, so then just a few more questions about your income. And like I said, look, we're already pretty much down. It's a very, very easy application. It can be intimidating at first, but it's very straightforward, all right? So then you are going to just fill all of this out. And then it's going to jump back to the student. So now the student's back on the computer filling out the rest of this, all right? Or again, if you are an independent student, you can just skip the parent section and then just continue to fill out the student section. And I will answer questions. I'm going to just finish filling this out or going over this, and then I'll jump back and answer any questions. And then I still have more things and resources that I want to show you as well. All right, so this is a very important part of the application. So this is where you are going to put your dream schools that you are applying to. And even if they're not your dream schools, any school that you are considering applying to, you are going to put that on the FAFSA. This is very important because, again, your student aid report, which is the report that is generated after you apply for the FAFSA, it is going to go to your schools, and then they're going to determine from that how much financial aid they should give you. Every school has its own federal school code. So even if you haven't committed to a school or you don't know for sure if you're going to that school, just go on Google, type in, like, I don't know, Georgetown University Federal School Code or Indiana University Federal School Code, and you'll be able to see that, and then you'll just put that here. You can apply for up to 30 colleges on your FAFSA application. So even if you have all of these colleges you want to go to, you can just put all of them on there, and then your student aid report will be submitted to all 30 of those schools. If you're filling out the paper application, which I don't recommend, but if you're doing this and filling out the paper application, you can only put 4, but just file electronically, y'all, and you can fill out way more. Again, I'm not showing you the electronic version because it shows some of my personal information, and so I just am showing you the paper copy, but just do it electronically. It's just way easier. You don't have to worry about mailing it, paying for stamps, and all that stuff. All right, it just takes a lot longer. All right, so then we are to the bottom of the application. Wasn't that easy, y'all? All right, so we're to the bottom of the application, and then you're going to just date it, sign it, and if you are doing it online, then you're just going to submit it, okay? So before I hop off of the application, let me stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to see if there are any questions about the application, and then I'm going to give you all some more resources as well. Oh, great questions. Okay, perfect. All right, so let's see. So Tiffany, my daughter is currently a freshman in college. So should I apply for her should I apply now for her next year? Yeah. So if your student is already currently in college, then you should absolutely be staying ahead of the game and applying for the FAFSA as soon as it comes out every year. So even if she'll be a sophomore in August, as a freshman, right now, you or she should be filling out that application. So then she'll be eligible for even more aid her sophomore year. Great question, Tiffany. Oh, and I see all these birdies too. Yes, Tiffany. Yep. So you are going to want to create a new account for each child. Yes, every child is going to get their own separate ID and FSA account on the FAFSA website. Great question. Shay, which tax return do you use, 2020 or 2021? Great question. So you're always going to use your tax returns from 2 years back. Okay, sounds crazy, but yeah, 2 years back. So right now we're in 2022. Oh gosh. Yeah, right now we're in 2022. So you're going to use your tax returns from 2020. Great question. And then how are you considered an independent student? Great question. So if you are living on your own, if you file your own taxes, if you are not living under your parents' household, then you are an independent student. If you're married, if you have kids, if you are an adult student going back to school, basically if you provide for your own, or if you're married and you and your spouse provide for your own, then you are an independent student. So great question. Awesome. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Keep typing in your questions. Okay, perfect. So again, that was the actual FAFSA application, but I want to show you a few more things as well. But again, it's super, super easy. And like I said, the paper application looks a little bit more intimidating than the electronic application. The electronic application is, y'all, it's very, very easy. You can't really mess it up. And even if you do mess it up, you can always go back and edit it, make any changes, and you can like just fix things if you do mess it up. So it's not really a big deal, even if you do get some of the information wrong. Yep, so don't even worry about that. Okay, cool. So let me show you a few more things. All right. I hope this has been super helpful. If this has been helpful for you so far, if you can give me like a thumbs up in the chat, or a helpful, or whatever you want to just let me know so I can know that I'm giving you value. Y'all, I was a teacher. Some of you may know this, some of you may not, but I was a teacher before I started She Edits. I absolutely love pouring into others. I love education. And so I love when everybody is actually gleaning from the things that I'm giving, because I love being able to help. Okay. All right. Awesome. So let me show you a few more things. And so there are a couple of great websites or great tools that the FAFSA website has for you if you need some more information, or if you get stuck, or if you just want to learn more. So let me share my screen again. And this is the FAFSA deadlines page. So I'm actually going to put this link in the chat after I get done talking about it, and then you all can just go to the page yourself. Now, again, at the very beginning, I said that the FAFSA opens up on October 1st of every year, and it closes June 30th of the next year, okay? Now, again, June 30th is the technical hard cutoff date or deadline date for applying for the FAFSA, but you want to get your application in as soon as possible, okay? So every state is going to have, and I'm gonna zoom up a little bit, every state is going to have its own individual deadlines for some of their grants, okay? So for instance, let's see, if I scroll down to California, the hard deadline for turning in that FAFSA is a March 2nd, 2023 for many state financial aid programs. And then it says right here, the Cal grant also requires submission by March 22nd of a school certified GPA by March 2nd, 2023, okay? Right here, Connecticut, for priority consideration, submit your application by February 15, 2023, okay? Let me scroll down to good old Indiana, all right? That's where I'm at. So right here, this one says ASAP after October 1st, 2022. Now, why does it say ASAP? Because we have a grant called the Adult Student Grant, and that grant says it is awards are made until funds are depleted. So that means it's first come, first serve. So if you're waiting till May, June of the next year to go ahead and get your FAFSA in, you may miss out on so many of these opportunities. The Workforce Ready Grant, as soon as possible after October 1st, 2022. All right. So every grant, or every state rather, is going to have its own deadlines for priority consideration and for their own grants. So you definitely want to make sure, again, you're not waiting until the last second. Now, and again, I'm going to put this link in the chat so you all will have that as well. And then this is another great resource, which I'll also put in the chat. So, and I'm going to zoom in on this one too. So every state has contact information. So if you have questions about your own individual state's grants, you can use this little handy dandy tool right here. You can just click whatever your state is, and then it gives you their website, and it gives you their phone number. So you can very easily like ask your own state questions if you have any questions about any of their grants, okay? Now, real quick caveat, the difference is between grants and scholarships. So grants are going to come from the government. Think G grants, G government. So there are many grants that states give out. And then of course you have your federal grants that are like, they are given out to all 50 states, right? And then scholarships come from private organizations like schools, businesses, nonprofits, churches, individuals. Anybody can give a scholarship. Bottom line with both of those, you do not have to pay them back. But again, if you want those grants that come from your state, you're going to want to fill out that FAFSA. And then with scholarships too, again, many scholarship applications want a copy of your student aid report. So let me stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to go ahead and drop these links in the chat for you. And then I will also come back and see if I have any questions. So I'm going to put the deadlines link first. All right, so deadlines, let me type this in, it froze up on me. So let me type deadlines. Okay, here we go. All right, so deadline. All right. So deadlines link is right here. It's coming your way. Thank you for your patience. And then here is the state contacts page. Let me put it right here. State contacts. There you guys go. All right, awesome. All right, so Shay said, what about Georgia? And then Nay and, oh, I love all these questions. Okay, cool. So let me hop back on the questions. All right, so Adriana, pretty name, I love that. I live in South Carolina, and my son has moved to Florida to go to school, and he now has gotten his Florida driver's license, but I claimed him on my taxes. Is he considered independent or dependent for next year? So if you filed him on your taxes, then he's probably going to be considered a dependent student. However, what I would do is contact the FAFSA organization and see if they'll let him turn in his own application as well. But if you filed him on your taxes, and because they go off of taxes that are a couple years old, he may still be considered a dependent student, but he can always try filing on his own as well. Or you can see if you can kind of get that altered and kind of get that split if you want to classify him as a dependent student. Great question. Awesome. You're welcome, Sonia. No problem. Nay, I tried to log in and it said I already have an account, so I used my account but different for my child. Or should I have my child create an account and I just add my info? Yep. So let me go back to that page for you, Nay. If this application that you're trying to fill out is for your child, she needs to create her own account. So let me share my screen. So she's going to click start here, and then she'll create her own account, and then she'll just need your information. Now, Nay, if you ever if you're currently a college student, or if you plan to go to school in the future to become a college student, then that's where you'll just log in with your own account. But yep, your daughter's absolutely going to create her own account right here. Great question. I love these questions, guys. I thrive on questions. All right, awesome. All right, perfect. And then Georgia. All right, Shay, let's see what Georgia is. So for Georgia, it says ASAP after October 1st, 2022. It says as soon as possible after October 21st, 2022. And then it says visit gafutures.org for additional information. So gafutures.org is most likely where all of their state grants are going to be listed. And yep, that's what it's looking like. I'm on their website now. So yep, gafutures.org. Great question. All right, let's see what else. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, perfect. All right, so now what happens if you have applied for your FAFSA, and because it went off your tax returns that were 2 years old, your current income does not reflect your income that it listed on your FAFSA? Great question, Brianna. All right, so what do you do in that case? So that is where you are going to contact the school directly. You cannot appeal your FAFSA. You cannot really go back and change too much because it's pretty like concrete, black and white. So you can't call the FAFSA office. I've tried, and I've gone through all of this with different clients, but we're unsuccessful. You can't call them and be like, I want to change my income on my taxes because it's not reflecting currently. I mean, it just goes back 2 years back, and that it kind of is what it is. But what you can do, listen carefully, what you can do is contact your school directly, or the schools that you are considering directly. So if you're already enrolled in a school and you've already committed to a school, you can contact your individual school's financial aid office and then appeal to them and let them know, yes, my FAFSA shows that my estimated family contribution, or my student aid index, which is the new term for estimated family contribution that they're rolling out later on, but whatever. You don't need to. Sorry, hold on. One moment, so guys, let me fix that. I got a little bit too excited. Hold on. Got a little too excited, knocked my light over. Thanks for your patience. Let's try this again. Stuck. Okay, we're just gonna roll with it. Sorry, it's a little ghetto. Okay. Sorry, y'all. Let me stop kicking my feet, and maybe I wouldn't be knocking stuff over. Let me just sit down for a second. Okay. But anyway, what you can do is contact your school's financial aid office directly and let them know, yes, my student aid report reflects that my income is this amount, but because of circumstances, because I lost my job, because I had to pay all these bills, whatever, it's not accurate, then they can manually change their financial aid offer to you, or they can decide what they want to do in that circumstance. So if you are considering different colleges, like if you haven't committed to a college yet, you can absolutely just contact those different financial aid offices, like of the colleges that you're considering, and see if they'll be willing to alter their offer to you based off of your student aid report. Or again, if you've already committed to a college, then what you can do is just call that college directly and then let them know your new circumstance. All right. So don't give up, don't dismay, even if your FAFSA shows something that's not accurate. Okay. All right, awesome. All right, keep asking those questions. Keep asking those questions. All right, cool. So I'm looking to see if we have any more. And then let me make sure I covered everything, because I want to absolutely make sure you're leaving this session tonight and this workshop with lots of value. If you didn't get to watch the whole thing, no worries. The replay will be available. I'm going to leave this up, and then I'm also going to post it to our YouTube channel as well. So you'll also be able to watch it over and over and over again. All right. And so I'm also going to give you the number for the FAFSA's customer service line. Again, they are actually very good at their customer service. Now, when I called, it may have been like pre-pandemic or maybe the beginning of the pandemic. So, with the pandemic, everybody's customer service is kind of like, not as great as it used to be, or they may not have as many representatives available, I should say. And so hopefully it's still as great as it was the last time I called. And so here is their number. If you have any questions that you want to ask about the FAFSA directly, their number is in the chat for you. And then let me see. I want to make sure again that I'm giving you all of the resources. I'm also going to put the FAQ link in the chat as well. And so most of the questions that you probably have about the FAFSA, many other people have as well. So I'm absolutely going to put that in the chat for you. That is the FAQ link. So hopefully you're saving all of these, because you can go through and explore them all later. And then I did mean to say this as well. So after you submit the FAFSA, it'll take between 3 to 10 days to process. So you're not going to automatically get your student aid report. It is not going to be just generated and sent to you right away. So you're going to have to wait for it. And then what you are going to do to see that student aid report is just go back to FAFSA.gov or studentaid.gov and then click log in, because by now you've already created your account. So just click log in, and then you'll be able to download and to view your student aid report. Okay. So again, it's not going to be an instant thing. And then your estimated family contribution, again, that is what they estimate that your family will be able to pay based off of this formula. And so the formula is the cost of attendance. So how much your school costs minus your estimated family contribution minus other financial assistance, and that is what your estimated family contribution should be. Okay. All right. So that's just a little tip for you. All right. So that is really the gist of it. Again, key points to take away are that you really want to only be going on FAFSA.gov or studentaid.gov to fill out your FAFSA. Make sure you have your tax returns handy. Make sure you have your Social Security information handy, and make sure everything is accurate. Submit it as soon as possible. Don't delay. There's no reason to delay, because the application is open now. It only takes about an hour or so to fill out, if that. And then you can pick as many colleges pretty much as you want for them to send out your FAFSA to. The FAFSA is super important because it is going to allow you to get federal aid and state aid. And also many scholarship applications are going to want a copy of that student aid report. All right. So hopefully that was very, very helpful for you. If you enjoyed this and you would like some more scholarship training, I got some good news for y'all. Okay, hold on, let me not get too excited, or I'll be knocking stuff over again. All right, but I have a whole training on October 27th over the scholarship process at large. Okay, so October 27th, y'all, it is going down. All right, so this is my scholarship workshop, and it is going to be epic. This is great because it's on Zoom, and so we'll be able to chat live. You'll be able to turn on your camera, turn on your microphone, ask me questions right there, and I will be breaking down the scholarship process. So I'll be talking about where to find scholarships and when to apply. I'll be talking about how to narrow down those scholarships. That's probably the number one question I get asked all the time is, where do I even begin? Where do I even find scholarships? Google is so overwhelming. I don't know where to start. And so this workshop is absolutely going to break that down. All right. I'm also going to be talking about essay writing, giving you the most popular essay topics, reading you a sample of my own essay and some of my work that helped me to win over $50,000 in scholarships and grants. I'll be talking about time management, and I'll be talking about how to be consistent through the process. And then I'll be breaking down other ways to graduate debt free. So scholarships and grants are not the only way you can graduate debt free. There are so many other ways to earn money and to save money for college and get you to that place of graduating debt free. So it is going to be epic and you don't want to miss it. It is only for the first 100 people who sign up. Once that 100 person has signed up, I'm locking it down. Okay. So get your tickets. Tickets are already going. They're already being filled. Spots are already being filled up. So you don't want to miss it. Okay. If you found value in tonight's session, which hopefully you did, because you guys are still rocking with me tonight and you have some great questions. So if you found value in tonight's session, then I'm telling you, you want to be there on October 21st. It's a very fun workshop. It's super interactive. You'll get a worksheet. I have these fun, like just things that I go through, and it's going to be crazy valuable. I try to really pack it in during that workshop and just give you, again, the information on where to find scholarships and how to write those great essays and how to make that process consistent. So you don't want to miss it. All right. October 27th, I put the link in the chat. And so if you're not there, I don't even know what to tell you. I mean, I'm just playing, but definitely try to come. You'll love it. All right. Do I have any more last minute questions about the FAFSA? I think I put all the links. So I want to make sure I put all of those in there. Yep. So you have the deadlines link, you have the state contacts link, you have the phone number, and yeah, you should be good to go from there. But let me know, of course, if you have any questions. We're happy to help at She Edits. That's what we love to do, is help people graduate debt free. Okay. So just feel free to shoot us a message. You can also email me at info, that is INFO, at sheeditsllc.com. I'm going to put that in the chat as well. But as you're filling out the FAFSA, if you get stuck, if you're struggling, just let me know and I'll be super happy to answer your questions. All right. But thank you all for being on here with me tonight. I love being able to teach. This is just like a little snippet of what we do here at She Edits. So we would love to be a part of your scholarship journey. Just shoot us a message, reach out if you have any more questions. And I hope you all have a blessed night in Jesus' name. All right, y'all. Have a great hump day and enjoy your weekend that's coming up soon. I'll talk to you all later.